Hello people, it's Jason here from Custom Cans, and today we're going to take a look at the AKG K371. Quite a fancy looking headphone as far as I can tell, designed for studio use. We've been given a couple of pairs of these to customise by AKG, and I think they're going to give them away to one of their sponsored artists, so it's a good excuse to kind of have a look at them, because I've got to pull them apart anyway so we can paint them. We've got 4 seals, seems an unnecessary number of seals on the box. Just get those bad boys open. And boom, we're in. Let's take a look inside. So, pretty nice box. There are the headphones in their little padded, what's it? Just get into the bag here. Oh, there you go, little protectors over the ear pads as well. You don't see that very often. You know, they want to keep the pads pristine, but seems like a little bit of a waste of plastic, in my opinion. Probably do without those. I think every other pair of headphones doesn't seem to need them. These ones will be fine without them. So removing the pads, just kind of finger inside, pull that off, and there we go. We're inside. You can see the driver underneath. Just get rid of the box. Okay. So Phillips screwdriver. We should be away. So I think under here we've got 6 screws. I don't know if you can see on there, but you've got tissue paper over the centre of the driver. That will have been to do with tuning, so that's quite interesting. It looks like there's some kind of metal coated mylar driver in there. Decent kind of size, probably like 40 or 50 mil. Let's just get these undone. Alrighty then, let's get that money shot. Ooh, inside, it's naked parts. Oh look, can you see there's weights on that side? It's opposite to the cable side. So yeah, that looks like that's gonna keep them feeling balanced. So you've got the weight of the cable on one side, they put little weights on the other side. Nice touch. Haven't seen that before, I don't think. Yes, that's quite interesting. Right, I'm pretty certain there's fasteners under here. Well, I know there is. I pulled a pair apart the other day. So, I'm trying to get under here. I'm using a sharpened screwdriver, and no, I'm just going to damaging that. Hold on, let me just see if I can find a blade. Okie dokie. So I'm just going to try and lever that up. Come on. Give up your secrets. You know you want to. Squint. Levering anything with a scalpel is not advised. Do not do this at home. It's the only blade I can find. But when they snap, they go pa-chang. And yeah, it's good to squint. Just so you don't lose an eye. You should really wear safety goggles, obviously. So that's off. And then underneath we have 4 smaller Phillips screws. Yeah, just get those undone. It's interesting, like you can always see the signature of a designer or a design team in the way they put things together, because this, even though it's very different from most of the other AKG ones that I've opened up, there's definite similarities in the way they're built. You know, they've seen the way the older ones, they built them the same but smaller or different in some way. So yeah, so like having these screws covered up by the AKG logo or a grill, that's pretty common, but also just inside they've got a little gimbal, which is just seems to be how AKG handle the attachment of the ear cup. Let's just use the soldering iron to remove the driver, so I'm just going to heat that up and release the wires. Just get a bit of fresh solder on there just to help it melt better. Yeah, if ever you're unsoldering a driver and it doesn't melt straight away, try putting a bit of fresh solder on, because you don't want to overheat the little board that it's on. The traces will come away, stuff like that. So a little bit of fresh solder usually helps. And come on, there you go, released. So that's the actual driver there. It's quite interesting. We've got a little bit in the center there, a hole in the center, which has got like a brass insert which is around it, which is quite nice. You've got the tissue here, which has been probably chosen for tuning, restrict the airflow. You've actually got 2 extra pads on the back of the driver which aren't used, so this driver might be shared with something else that uses them. You've got the weights there. So yeah, it's a nice little bit of kit. Yeah, some definite love has gone into them. It's made of ABS. Yep, nice. So here we have the actual enclosure, and you can see the cable is kind of got some glue in there to seal it up. And you've also got these little blobs of glue around the outside, and I think that's just for damping, to stop it from rattling around, or maybe to absorb some of the sound that's in there. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Those four blobs. Yeah, I think they kind of press against the back of the driver maybe and give it some support. And there's that gimbal I was talking about. So yeah, AKG, love a gimbal. And underneath there's a little rubber. You see that little rubber grommet there as well, which will stop it from rattling, absorb any kind of slack that you've got in the system that might cause a rattle. So nice little ideas. Yeah, these are all things I'm learning. There's things that I want to incorporate into any headphones that I design. Is those, yeah, things like those little rubber stoppers that just, because yeah, when an ear cup moves and it makes a little click or something like that, it's super annoying. So basically now we're just gonna kind of rinse and repeat with the other side. Just pop that open as well. Yeah, it has to be said, stuff like this gives them a slightly lower repairability score, because it's not super easy to get to these fasteners. They're under here, they're kind of hidden away. They haven't left a gap around the outside, somewhere you can poke in a screwdriver to get it out easily. So they're designed to be built, but not necessarily repaired cleanly, which is a little bit annoying. I think further work could be done there. So just a little gap around the outside where you can get in a screwdriver. Yeah, it's not going to look quite as clean, but you know, you could integrate it in such a way that it makes it easier to repair. But once you're in, you know, it's all pretty good, other than, you know, it's got glue in there, but that's for a good reason, to seal it up. And here's inside the other one, so you can see they haven't got the weights at the bottom there. Yeah, so the weights are there to equal out the weight of the cable a bit. So yeah, interesting idea. I suppose it also fills in the air volume that the socket takes up. So there you can see one with weights, one without. Nice, left and right. I also noticed that they're marked A and B, which is quite interesting on the back of the driver, and I'm wondering if that's some kind of impedance rating, because often in the factory they'll match drivers and things like that based on their impedance, because every driver is slightly different. I'm not sure why that is. It must be a manufacturing thing. So we'll just have a look and see what this is all about. Yeah, whether an A driver is different from a B driver. So on this one we're getting sort of 31 ohms in that kind of region. And on this one, 34. Oh, no. 33, 34 kind of ohms. And that is quite interesting. So there is a mismatch between them, but they've arranged them so the lower impedance driver is on the right, and obviously the right hand side has got a longer cable because it has to go up over the headband and back down. So it does make sense to put the lower impedance of the two in the right hand one, which will kind of even them up. So when you measure it from the other end of the cable, they're probably going to be much closer. So yeah, it's quite interesting. So yeah, so the A and B and stuff on there are probably, like I said, kind of impedance bands. So as they test them, they'll pair them up in that way. But yeah, overall, pretty interesting design. Let's have a look in here. So what have we got? So here's a little PCB that all the wires join onto, and there's the actual socket inside. And as you can see, it's all kind of, again, glued in and sealed in with whatever that shmoo is that they've got in there. So yeah, they've been built with some love. This is clearly one of those things where the bean counters haven't got involved, you know, where they've asked for extra weights and all these like extra little blobs of glue and stuff inside will have all added to the manufacturer's costs, and no one said no. You know, people are going like, yes, okay, that all makes sense, we'll spend the extra money and do that, because on some headphones you can see where they've cheaped out, whereas this looks like, you know, the designer of these got his way and got all the toys in there that he wanted, which is nice to see. There we go. That's pretty much as far as I need to pull these apart to paint them. I've just got to remove the cable and then should all be good. I hope that was vaguely interesting, and I will see you guys again.